Hey everybody, I'm Zach.
And I'm Jesse.
You're watching Disruptive Investing, and I want to thank Moomoo for sponsoring this video.
We talk about the market and investments quite a bit, and lately we've seen lots of ups and downs.
Reading market reports can get complicated, and that's one of the reasons why I like Moomoo.
You can track earnings reports and see a brief interpretation of the company that you're interested in their earnings hub.
By clicking Markets and Explore and Earnings Hub,
you can find the interpretation of companies like Tesla and their earnings report, which gives you a quick window of how the company is running, and that can save you a lot of time.
And the best part right now is that Moomoo is giving away free stocks. So if you sign up using our link below, you get 1 free stock for opening an account, 4 more free stocks if you deposit just $100, and another 10 free stocks if you deposit $1,000.
And as a special offer for our channel, now when you deposit $100, you will receive 5 more stocks.
So that means in total, you'll receive up to 20 free stocks.
Use the link down below in the description for more details.
And I wanted to talk about a couple stories and tie them together for you about Tesla. The first is about Tesla's 10Q that came out a couple weeks ago. This is, when big companies are going to do something big, they have to file with the SEC different forms. The 10Q is where you file what you're going to be doing with your capital spending. And so Tesla has revised its capital spending plans now and reported on its latest 10Q filing with the SEC. And this is now the second time in 2023 that Tesla has revised its spending plans. Tesla stated, "We currently expect our capital expenditures," that's spending on big items like factories, "to be between $7 and $9 billion in 2023 and in each of the following 2 fiscal years."
So what was their previous plan?
So in January, Tesla said they expected to spend between $6 and $8 billion, with $7 to $9 billion being spent in 2024 and 2025.
So basically, they're upping this year's spend by $1 billion.
So yeah, my guess is that this points to continued upgrades and expansions to all of Tesla's existing Gigafactories, along with the start of construction at Giga Mexico, and I think a new Gigafactory in Asia.
So we're talking about a $21 to $27 billion capital spend in just the next 3 years.
And I want you to keep in mind, for a lot of companies, that would mean having to go, debt or raise capital. In this case, keep in mind that Tesla has $22.4 billion in cash right now in the bank. Now, I hope they've spread that out over a number of banks. Can you imagine if they had to put $250,000 in each bank? Like, there wouldn't be enough banks to hold it all. So I don't know where they're keeping it, but that's crazy amount of cash.
And so that 10Q kind of relates to this next story.
Yeah.
So you may have caught this tweet about Elon. He was visited by the president of South Korea in Washington, D.C. This week. And I think that it's highly relevant.
Yeah, we covered it on TTN's Tweets of the Week, but I believe that what I said in the last story is not entirely true. I said I think that Tesla will build another Gigafactory in Asia, which might have made some of you think that the second factory would be in China. And I have mentioned that before, that I think it'd be smart for them to build a second one in China. I believe that they're now going to be building this new Gigafactory in South Korea, and that makes way more sense to me, and I'm going to explain why. So number one, Tesla will still be in Asia with this Gigafactory. So think access to South Korea, obviously, Japan, it's closer than China is, Taiwan, Thailand, Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, Philippines, Malaysia. Those are all accessible easily from South Korea.
Number 2, South Korea overtook Germany as the 4th largest maker of automobiles last year in terms of vehicle output. So a big, trained workforce full of smart engineers.
Number 3, South Korea is a U.S. ally. So if a future embargo against China happens, and look, I mean, I wouldn't have been able to predict that Russia would be at war with Ukraine. So, I mean, if something goes on with Taiwan, at least you've got your factory in a safe country. Number 4, President Yoon told Elon, quote, "South Korea boasts world-class manufactured robots and an advanced labor force, making it an ideal location to run a gigafactory. Should Tesla decide to invest, we will provide active support in terms of location, workforce, and taxes."
Elon met virtually with Yoon back in November. It's obvious that Tesla is shopping around.
Yeah, so if South Korea can sweeten the pot with tax breaks and possibly a good location, Tesla would be smart to strongly consider it.
Number 5, South Korea's population is over 51 million people. It's a huge auto market with 1.6 million auto sales in 2022.
That's a really good point. So you wouldn't even have to export much if you didn't want to. South Korea is going to be a huge market for Tesla, and having a factory right there, well, it's going to kind of do the same thing, if you think about it, that happened in China. Once you put the factory there, then all South Koreans are going to kind of think of it as their own brand because it's going to be made by their own people.
Number 6, tariffs. South Korea levies tariffs on foreign cars of 8% for most countries and a free trade partner with the US. Tesla making cars in South Korea will mean no tariff.
Right. You're getting an 8% cheaper car for people in South Korea versus, say, shipping in a VW or something. Number 7 is that LG Chem, Samsung SDI, and SK On are all South Korean battery manufacturers. They're big ones. And as batteries become the limiting factor here, being right there with 3 major battery companies and having them all competing for your business is a good thing for sure.
So this is just another bullish indicator for us of, we're seeing this 10Q being filed. And then, you have the president of a country saying, hey, come on in. We'll make room. We'll do whatever you need.
I mean, think about that for a second. The president of a country visiting you, Elon, the head of a company, not like, hey, why don't you come to South Korea and I'll talk to you. Let me come to Washington. When are you going to be there? Right. And, having to work out that schedule. I mean, why do you think Elon was also there visiting,
Chuck Schumer.
So
other people, yeah.
This to me really does point to South Korea. And just think about this for a second. I mean, now we're going to probably have Mexico and South Korea, if that's where they end up being, coming online in a very short amount of time after the announcement. This isn't like one of those things you hear from a lot of companies like, we're going to open a factory, and then 5 years later. No, this is probably going to be, 18 months later or something. The world's going to look completely different in about a year and a half when we have all this new production of Teslas in even more places. It's really astounding. And I just want to be clear, disclaimer, Jesse and I are not financial advisors. We are long on Tesla stock. Do not take our advice as to what you should do. If you are interested in talking about stuff like that, head on over to our Patreon Investors Club. So we basically can't do this without the support of our Patreons. And if you want to join that club, well, that's exactly what we do. We talk about this stuff all the time.
Yeah, we have Investor Club bonus stories every week. We have a Slack where everyone can get together and talk about it without having to, be on some public forum with a bunch of internet randos who are like, Tesla's going to go out of business. We don't have to deal with that over on our Investor Club Slack.
We'll see you guys next week on Disruptive Investing.